Hello and welcome back to the Doctor Who Marathon. I'm your host McEdam, and today we're going to be talking about The Monster of Peladon, written by Brian Hayes and directed by Lenny Mayer. I don't actually have a copy of the DVD. Hooray! You're probably wondering, how do I have The Curse of Peladon and not The Monster of Peladon, because they come in a box set. I don't actually have a good answer for that. I just own one and not the other. Go figure. This is a 6-part adventure, and it feels like a direct sequel to Curse. It's got either the similar sets or very same. All the costumes feel like they've just come out of the previous story. The only difference really is the characters. Even the plot is very same, as the Doctor lands onto Peladon, and there's some sort of conspiracy against the Federation, and the citizens believe it is a curse of Abador, the creature. So the setup is very similar to Curse, and I was really worrying rewatching the story that it was just going to be a copy and paste situation. However, this story does something very unique, very strange. The best way to describe it is that it feels like two different writers were given the same plot, because Brian Hayes, what he did with the last story, these stories are both heavily political. They're all about like how the hierarchy treats the lower hierarchy and stuff like that. But whilst that the Curse was about basically the EU and how we should all like join together political wise, and we shouldn't be separated. In Monster, the real world tackling is about the quality of minors and women libs, or the feminist ideology, should I say, as just changing the villain from one aspect to a different thing really spices up this story. And it's kind of strange how these two plots, very similar plots, came from the same writer, because they seem like they would have counteracted each other. They would try and be saying different things, but no, they don't, because the idea is still about we should stick together, we should learn to work with each other, not against each other, and so the same theme, the same plot, is just switching the villain makes you represent something completely different. As in this story, the Federation and Peladon have been united for years now. This takes place 50 years at least from the previous story, as King Peladon is now, he passed away many years ago, and now his daughter is the Queen. However, because she is a lady, a few of her disciples basically don't really believe in her. They think that really only men could be thing. Now, this side of the plot, the feminist angle, is a very great plot. It's a very great angle, but I don't think it went far enough. It just kind of seemed a bit. Not that it's bad by any means, but it seems like there was only maybe like 1 or 2 comments about it. And then Sarah Jane does a fantastic speech about how there's nothing just about being a girl. But then it doesn't really amount to much in terms of the plot. It's mainly about the rights of minors, as that the Federation now have helped with Peladon, and they've got this trisilicon from the mines. It's only really benefiting the hierarchy of Peladon, as the miners are still treated exactly the same as before. They're not treated very well. A few of them, a majority of them, want to rebel against the hierarchy, against the Queen and her disciples. And whilst they're working for the Federation, they are getting attacked by a spiritual monster that's in the shape of Amador. Now we know that that's not Amador, because we seen in Curse of Peladon that Amador was just a lovely cuddly bear. So the plot, episodes 1, 2 and 3 is mainly about trying to find out who is, what's going on, as the Doctor first of all, he's been treated like he's a spy with Sarah Jane. However, they're quickly pardoned and proven that they are the good guys when a old friend reappears. Yes, Alpha Centauri, the weird willy monster from Curse of Peladon, returns. Very strange character to bring back. I don't know if it was a fan favourite. She wouldn't appear again until the new series. She would have a cameo in Empress of Mars. So yeah, I don't know if this was a beloved character. I thought she was not annoying, but just something. The high-pitched voice maybe was a bit too much for me. But anyway, I digress. So the story then basically follows the Doctor as he tries to find out what's going on. He goes down to the mines with the Queen's champion, and they go to a specific part of the mine, which was helped by the Federation's guns. And whilst they're there, they get mounted down and get attacked by the creature of Peladon, this mysterious spirit thing. Whilst this is going on, Sarah Jane is talking with the Queen, and as her man, the person that she gets her advisor is very dismissive against women, as he didn't let Sarah Jane talk in the council, and he doesn't really think fondly of the opinions of the Queen. And even the Queen is like, if I was a boy, it'd be different. People would listen to me and I would have a stronger opinion. But I'm only a girl. And then Sarah Jane says, there's nothing just about being a girl. And we get the famous line. I really like this scene. And it's something that sadly is still something that we need to learn today. A lot of people, the internet. But I digress. So the story mainly focuses on the Doctor trying to figure out what's going on, and Sarah Jane goes down to the caves to try and save the Doctor. She's seen it on a television screen. However, she gets lost and she finds a secret base. I believe it's where they said to keep all the armour. However, she sees a silhouette in the window, a green silhouette, and she's banging on the door, but nobody's in coming to her, and they set off the alarms and her head starts hurting and it'll melt and stuff. So yeah, but anyway, so Doctor and Sarah Jane, they learn that the Federation is at war with Galaxy 5, and they need this trisilicon because it's where all their technology is based. And basically whoever has the tricilium on Peladon will win the war. So the Doctor basically believes that there's sabotage to try and get the stuff to Galaxy 5. And so, but whilst this is going on, the miners are starting to revolt as they start attacking some of the Queen's guards and stuff and trying to basically overthrow her. However, something goes wrong as Alpha Centauri calls the Federation guards, but none of the Peladons want this. So they have a little truce to get into to stop the Federation from coming down and basically marching everything. However, what they got was the Ice Warriors, which is the cliffhanger in part 3. And they basically put Peladon on martial law, and the Ice Lord, he basically is like a dictatorship. Basically, anyone who disobeys him, he will murder. So the Ice Warriors are back to being villains again. So, yeah, this is what I'm talking about the different theming of this story. In the last story, the Doctor thought the Ice Warriors were behind it, but then it turns out they were actually one of the good guys, and it was actually somebody living in Peladon who was the villain. But here it is the actual Ice Warriors, and it's all about really being treated unfair by the hierarchy. Now, it's not just completely doing 180 and it's like, oh, the Federation was good in that story, now they're bad in that story. No, because actually a majority of the problems comes from Peladon's politics itself, as it's mainly the Queen and her people are getting all the benefits of working with the Federation, and the miners are basically being treated as peasants. So there's a lot of going on here, and it helps deal with real world issues at the time, as there were miner strikes, and there was a lot of unrest of politics back in 1975, and the theming all works here. It really fits really well into the majority of story. However, the Doctor and Sarah Jane soon discover the Ice Warriors, along with this person that they've been working with for the majority of the story, turns out to be traitors to go back to Galaxy 5. The main human, who I can't remember the name, just wanted power, which I really was liking this character, how he's just some sort of like innocent worker who might be a bit of a coward, and he's one of those people who's like, you shouldn't get into politics and stuff. Sorry, I got a job to do kind of person. But when you find out why he's a bad guy and how he just wants power, I think he becomes a little bit bland and one note, in my opinion. However, the Ice Warriors, they only get really a slight mention as to why they're doing this, as the leader, the current leader, the Ice Lord, he just wants to go things back to the way they were, of fighting with glory and stuff like that. So basically the old-fashioned Ice Warrior hierarchy. So there's a lot of going on and stuff, and the Doctor soon discovers that the silhouette that Sarah Jane saw was an Ice Warrior, and so he goes into the secret base, and he finds out that in it is this machine that creates matter projections, which they take a statue of Agador and send it to places, and it attacks and kills people. It's basically about how politicians would basically use other people's faith and religions against them to get what they want and stuff, which was kind of like how politicians always are like, you will benefit from me, but they really only care about themselves. And we get a pretty decent ending as the Doctor starts using Agador with the miners who rebel against the Ice Warriors, and a massive war ensues with the help of the Queen, and during this battle, her right-hand man dies by an attack by one of the Ice Warriors. And the Doctor basically is looking for the human villain who took the Queen as prisoner. And so he gets reunited with Agador, who sniffs him out. And there's a little fight ensues, but the guy basically shoots Agador as Agador is ripping him to shreds. And we get the sad death of Agador. I feel really bad. I mean, it's literally just a scene, but it really, for some reason, it just really hit me hard that Agador's fucking dead. Like, he's basically the Doctor's pet for Curse and Monster. But yeah, so everything is sort of resolved, and the Queen asks the Doctor to be her disciple, her new right-hand man. And the Doctor's like, I don't think I'm the right person, but I know who is. The leader of the miners. So she asks the miner, basically started a new and hopefully better life for not just some, but all of the citizens of Peladon. And the story ends with a nice, lovely joke of Sarah Jane saying that she wouldn't want to get in the way of the Doctor's with a great pension scheme in his career, and the Doctor basically drags her by the ear. So that was The Monster of Peladon. Overall, it's a great story. I don't know if I like it more than Curse. I think Curse has the better story, it has the better plot, but this is actually a pretty good story too. I forgot to mention as well, there are a lot of hints of yet to come. As in 2 scenes, Sarah Jane believes the Doctor to be dead, and the Doctor even says, "Tears, Sarah?" as he gets woken up at one point by Sarah Jane's tears, and the Doctor says something along the line, "Why is this life, blah 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 blah," which ties into his final story. The story still looks absolutely amazing. Like, it's the same creative team that worked on Curse of Peladon, and they did a fantastic job at recreating that feel. Maybe a bit too much. Maybe it did feel a little less here, like creative endeavours and more of creative convenience. But overall, it's still a fantastic story, and I highly recommend it. So that's The Monster of Peladon. So join me next time, where we have creepily crawly creatures, mind-controlling human civilians. We bring back the UNIT team, and we say goodbye to a legendary man. So join me next time for The Planet of the Spiders. I'll see you then.